Oh, nice. Wow. Oh, so the service station. So love it. Thank you, Christina. You're welcome. It was nice to meet you. I was waiting for our thing.
Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Look at all the pretty sweaters out there. Look at all the sweaters in the internet world. Hi out there. So before we get started, it's important to know who you're sitting next to. So you got 1 minute to meet somebody new. If you're online, you got to send a direct message to somebody that you don't know, tell you what you want for Christmas. Ready? 1 minute, go.
They are. All right, here we go. Make me use my mom voice, Sonia.
That's right. Okay, this is where we normally have our vendors and our affiliates stand up and say something about what they do. We're gonna do something a little different.
Little different today.
Any of you that are our affiliates or vendors, come up to the front. Come up here, we're gonna form a nice line with you.
Vendors, come to the front so I can see your beautiful faces.
Oh,
Right here.
oh, this is awkward.
It is very awkward, isn't it?
Where are your sweaters?
Yeah.
To be in another sweater all day, so.
So you can get the memo.
Okay, usually every week, and is the camera zooming on all of us? It's an auto zoom now, it's kind of cool. But every week we have them tell what they do for us, and they're here to help you. And so what we've decided is gonna become an annual event starting this year.
Oh.
This is a day to say thank you to all of you. And Shannon, would you help to Santa? Santa Claus.
Yeah, there.
These are the best.
So I'm gonna show all the world what they're getting in here. They have some fun little things, some pins and some things, but Greater Keller Williams preferred vendor. So let's give them a thank you for all they do.
You guys are awesome.
So while we got y'all up here, tell who you are, what you do.
Jess Bowman, Bowman Insurance Group.
Christina Ferrante, 417 Home Loans, hashtag Living Lady for Life.
Derek Cheney, the home loan expert with Mid-Missouri Bank.
Leah Reed with Central Bank.
Casey Cooper with Summit Lending.
I think it's weird, all the loan people got together in the middle.
We can all be friends.
Cindy Sluggle with Great American Title. Christine Norris, Great American Title.
George Brockman with the Chosen Home Warranty.
These people make all the trainings we do all year long possible. So we wanted to thank you all and say,
Thank you,
we very much
guys.
appreciate it. You're not just vendors. That sounds like you're selling us something. You are our partners and our affiliates, and we love you. So thank you very
Oh,
much.
thank you guys.
First annual.
That was awesome.
That's always good.
Oh, we got a late one.
Oh. He gets a gift anyway. Haley, you want to come up here or stay there?
I'll sit here.
Okay.
Nice.
As most of you know, we have an in-house service called Onward Agent Services. Haley, what does Onward Agent Services do?
Hi, Haley, Onward. We do transaction coordination, marketing management, sign running, closing gift baskets. Our TC services, we have pre-listing, listing, contract to close, Marketing, we do monthly newsletter campaigns and social media management. Sign running, we have sign and Supra drop-off and pickup services. And then closing baskets are created by Mockingbird Designs and sold up at our front desk. So they're always available here for you whenever you need them. If you have any questions about anything, you can always come up and talk to me or Megan. We're up in the leadership office, right across from Nicole and Ian. So I'm always there if you need anything.
So basically, anything they need to leverage off, you could do.
Yep.
You do sign running.
Sure do.
That's it, sign running.
They'll usually drive them though, because running them really gets far.
Lockbox place.
Literally.
All right, so talk to Haley, talk to Megan upstairs, they'll help you with anything you need. All right, every week we talk about either our MVV, or P, our mission, our vision, our values, our belief, or perspective. This is our value, which is,
God, family, then business.
and our goal is that you have such a good business that you can do the other two. But you gotta keep the right things in the right order. And that's one thing I love about KW is it's focused on doing it the right order. And every week we do a culture winner. Last week's winner was Trey Watson, who's right now, is he in the Dominican?
He is in the Dominican,
Yeah.
getting a tan.
He's
Let's
in
feel
the-
bad for him right now.
Yeah, we don't want him to live stream in, never mind.
No.
But he nominated somebody before he left because we told him, hey, you gotta get this done. So what did he say?
He nominated, well, should I say what she's done
You
first?
should say what she's done
I'm
first.
gonna say what she's done first. She has jumped into the KW culture with both feet. She has an exciting energy about herself, no doubt fitting right in. She is plugging herself into what KW has to offer and is getting outside of her comfort zone daily. She is exactly what we all should be doing right now. She is a great example of the KW culture, and we are lucky to have her with us, Ashlyn Bailey. Say she instead of your name, so I was kind of stumbling through that.
So Ashley gets to keep the traveling Steffes trophy for 1 week. And then you get to keep this one, the permanent Steffes trophy forever. So congratulations. The special thing is there's no team meeting next week, so you get to keep that an extended time. Yeah. Put it on the Christmas table and everywhere else, so.
That'll be the centerpiece.
Yeah.
All right, Jim, what do we have for broker moment?
Good, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Everybody's being behaved.
Huh?
Everybody's being behaved.
And so let's just knock on something and pray and do everything else. I did see that prime rib went up pretty high. If you want to donate anything to the bowling table, that's what we have for Christmas. It's only $16 a pound.
Oh.
Costco's $12.99.
Might be going for turkey.
All right, calendar, there's not much left of the month. We have a team meeting today, sellers contracts with Don tomorrow, and that's it on the calendar for the rest of.
Except where's our friend Paulina?
Yes,
Paulina,
get
come
up
on
here.
up here.
There was nothing on here, so she said, let's add
I
something.
know, but all of you should already know about it. So I am Paulina.
You should all know that. She's Paulina.
What I meant to say is I'm on the AOC, the Agent Advocate Committee, and tonight we're gonna do an agent happy hour at Go Burrito. It's located on West Republic. It's gonna be from 4 until 6, and it's just casual, come and go. You don't have to show up right at 4. You don't have to stay until 6. So even vendors, you guys are more than welcome to stop by. It's super casual. It's just a way to connect with agents outside of the office, because I know sometimes in the office they can not necessarily intimidating, but it's just a different atmosphere. So it would be a good way for you guys to talk to other agents, brainstorm maybe some ideas, what we're doing for next year, what our strategies are. So tonight, 4 to 6 at Go Burrito, and then make sure to wear your ugly Christmas sweater.
Or your
Or
pretty
pretty
Christmas-
one.
Whichever way it
Or
is.
the pretty one. And if you need extra happy hour, don't forget that Nixa on Thursday at 4 p.m. is another happy hour.
Absolutely. So get on your phones, call everyone and tell them about it, but do it in a friendly, compliant way. Do not get sued for calling the wrong people.
Don't bring shame on us.
That's right.
And we had one of these in the building, so it does happen. Scrub the number before you call on the do not call list, state and national. And if it's a KW listing that is expired or canceled, the best thing to do would be to call the agent first and say, hey, I saw that your listing was canceled. You know, are you gonna relist that, or would you mind if I make a call? That would just be kind of culture, you know? That would be really nice. I mean, the other companies are gonna call anyway, but you should probably make that call. I would before I make the call. But again, scrub it anyway.
Very good. All right, the next happy hour is December 21st from 4 to 6. How many of you have never been to the Nix office?
You
Look
got
at
to
this.
go.
This is a perfect time.
It's amazing.
Yeah, Jason's gonna have all kinds of free drinks there. Maybe. I don't know.
See if you caught that, I don't know.
Yeah, but it is right across from.
Great American Title.
What is the street name? I can't think of it.
Village Center.
Village Center, 201 Village Center. That's the address. Got it. Oh, it's right. Look.
Yeah. I'm just gonna let him go.
Mr. Captain Obvious here. Okay, that's gonna be a good time, so make sure you come to that also. And we're at the end of winter of renewal. We've had a great series of team meetings through this month. We almost have the entire first quarter already scheduled out for next year. So we're gonna have that pretty soon. This says November 23rd. There is no team meeting that day or the 26th, either one. So don't come for any more team meetings.
Yeah, the 23rd's on Saturday, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. So we,
Please don't come.
yeah, don't come to a team meeting that day. We won't be here. Hey, let's talk about money. Guess what? Board dues, the official amount is now out. It is $538. It is due by January 31st. After that, there's a $50 late fee. Here's the breakdown of it. So the 538 is your local realtor dues, which are 120, and national image assessment, which I'm not sure what that is 45.
Sounds like blinker fluid.
Yeah, national realtor dues, 156, RPAC investment, 20, state assessment, 40, state dues agent, 157. Here's how it changed. That went up $2. That's the first time it's went up since last century. Okay, so local only went up $2. National went up $6 and state went up $9. So that's the changes from last year. So 538 is the total, or it's 588 by the end of February. If you don't get it renewed, yes, sir.
Why do we have a state assessment and state dues?
I have no clue. I don't know what.
See, you're the president.
That goes into the mic fund. Yeah, I was looking at that yesterday. I don't know what the differences
It's
are.
only
on
gonna
it.
pay for the new dashboard that nobody wants.
That's right. Yeah, it looks good. It was great today. Now, those of you especially out in internet world, if you're not part of GSBOR, most of this is the same, but the board part might be different. So this is GSBOR only. Those of you in other boards, you've probably gotten a statement on it also. Let's see, family reunion. It is less than 2 months away. Okay, it's coming up soon. It's time to start scheduling for it. I did, and here's the main speakers, but here's the two things that have come out. I'm gonna jump out of the screen share for a second. So I started doing some research this weekend on flights. To fly from Springfield, Allegiant has a straight flight there, but it's Friday to Friday. So you'd be there in Vegas the next 2 or 3 days. I know this is hard to see, but yeah.
Like really hard to see.
I checked Delta, Springfield's too expensive. Kansas City has a spot going from Sunday to Friday. That's what I tried to look at, because most of it starts Monday morning, and then Thursday morning is culture, what's it called?
The Culture Summit?
Inspirational morning.
Oh.
Got it. So I tried to find flights to get as much stuff in as possible. The best deal I found was Southwest going from Tulsa. It leaves at 1 on Sunday. It comes back on Friday. It's $289 as of Friday. So I thought, if some people are looking to save money, what if we could have a group carpool down in one big vehicle? But Tulsa's a good opportunity. Allegiant also flies from Bentonville. So that's a way to get down there too. There's a bunch of different ways, but it's pricey getting to Vegas. There's no simple way to get there. I'll share this once we get a little bit more detail, but we're trying to get all those things worked out on it. Also, if you've already signed up, you got this email that links you to this. And I think you can get to it at events.kw.com. Here are the main speakers. I love this as we scroll down. Look who's there. All right, Jen Davis. But they've already got the agenda up for all the breakout sessions. So, oh, they had pictures. Those weren't here before. So all this, you name it, you can learn about it. I'm scrolling through all of Monday right now.
You should have the app too, that you can follow along.
It's not updated yet. I
Not
checked
yet?
it too.
Okay.
But events.kw.com will give you all the info on this. This is a life-changing thing. So please make sure if you can get to it, you need to get to it. Back to the screen share, if I can find the right screen. And full, yeah. Okay, and if you're a MAPS client, how many people are MAPS coach client? You're already free for this, but there is a party at House of Blues with DJ Warren Peace. He was great. He did the party last year. They're renting out House of Blues all for this event. There are guest tickets available too, so that's there also. And market stats for the week. They were all over the place. You can tell it's holiday season. Some places it went up, some places it went down. North went up quite a bit on listings, you know, percentage wise. And I'm excited for next year because then we'll have a whole year of this graphic, so we don't have to look at this one and be confused. But again, compared to last year, Soma had 265 listings this week, 242 last year. So we're still traveling higher than last year. We did, however, go down on active listings Monday. So that, but again, you compare it to history, the last 2 years, we're still quite a bit higher. It's just all over the place still. So the main thing is know the numbers. And in fact, the board sent out the stats for GSBR wide. I think, well, you'll see it in a second. Know the numbers. That way, when you're talking to your people, you come off as a professional.
Yes, please come off as a professional.
Yes, that would be good. This had to be disabled because there was a glitch in it. It's back up. So when you put a listing in, you can put, when you put a contract in on Flex, you can put a projected close date. So it'll give you a reminder to change it to closed. So you don't get that fine for that. And fines were down like 70% last year. So it's really working well. This is the video you got that shows all the stats for the year. I'm just letting it start to play for a second. No, it's not. But this will give you all the stats on like how much house sold for compared to last year and that kind of stuff. But you've got it already. And this is interesting because we've been talking in the market center in the leadership, the number of agents of active in sales is going down a lot. But this is interesting. When it gets here.
Where can we find that video that you couldn't play?
It's your email that came out Sunday night from the board.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Come on, load up. Okay. This number one interesting thing, this is the number of agents around the country. Missouri is number about 15. Right now, we have 26,376 agents. This time last year, there were 26,014. There are 300 more agents right now than the same time last year. But we think a lot of those have gone into referral because they thought getting into real estate was gonna be easy and oh my gosh, it's work. What am I gonna do with that? But the interesting thing is we have gone up in agents. I would not have thought that, but again, we're trying to
Because
figure out.
what are you hearing? You're hearing that the agents are getting out of the business,
Yeah.
right? Mass exodus.
But this is also in that email you got from the board. So if you wanna look at that, you can too. I just thought that was kind of interesting that we've gone up in numbers. Okay, now we have two special content things today. Whew, got through a lot. In a
All
lot of time.
words.
We have agents all over the place. We have, as of, thank you, ma'am. As of the end of November, we had 459 agents from Keller Williams Springfield. And we go everywhere from Stockton, which by the way, welcome the Stockton people here.
Hey,
All the way down, almost to Aurora that way. We go down to West Plains and all the way up to Rolla where Catherine Stanislavski is. Catherine's gonna share some stuff that's been going on up in Rolla. We're gonna start with this. I love the chaos right here. Please welcome Catherine up. I'm good. Welcome, welcome. So one thing I love about our road routes, I get to go out and see all of our outside agents once a month. So I get all the way up to Rolla. I did it stupidly this time because there's a construction area by Waynesville. And if you go through that really fast, this guy with the little lights on his car stops you. But like I said, it's okay. It was in a construction zone, so it's gonna be good. Oh, it's gonna be a lot. I gotta go to MissouriTrafficTickets.com really quick. So that happened and my morning starting off, and then I get up to Rolla and Catherine showed me all these great things she's got that's going on there. So tell us a little bit about you first. How long have you been in real estate, in Rolla, all that kind of stuff?
So I got licensed in 2012. I was a stay-at-home mom and decided we needed to start preparing for college. We have 5 children and we just graduated our third of 5 kids last weekend. So we're super excited. Got one more off the payroll.
Yeah, you think.
I've been with 2 brokerages. My first brokerage was like a boutique brokerage, and then I joined another franchise and then ended up with Keller Williams a little over almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, because I remember when we first started going up there. Now, the event we just did the video from, was that the place we ate on Pine Street when I came up to
No.
meet you? Okay, it was a different one.
Different one, no.
So that event,
Mhm.
you did that in November
Yes.
and it looked, tell us about it. That looked
So
awesome.
I like to do, instead of marketing to mass groups of people that I don't know, I try to focus on my sphere. So I do private events for my customers, my vendors, people that I like that refer business to me. And about once a quarter, I do something. This was my biggest event. We did it early in November so that people could have their pictures with Santa and get it out there early before everybody else. And it was a great hit. It was kind of like an open house. People came, had heavy hors d'oeuvres. It was early in the day, 11 to 2, and had a great turnout.
So did they have to RSVP for it
The
or?
RSVP, so every event that I do, because it's exclusive, I do a private event Facebook page. So it's not public. So they have to be invited to it. And I have customers say, hey, I have a friend that would love to come. And, you know, I never say no. But I just find that marketing to, you know, mass people that you don't know or have a connection with, I don't get anything in return in the long run.
Uh-huh.
And so I've decided to focus on my sphere.
And so after the event, I love the video you did. What do you do with the video? How do you
So
use
then
that?
that goes on my public business page. Then I share that. And so people are wondering like, oh, Catherine did an event with Santa. How cool, you know, it's a great way to market yourself too. And the photographer that I use, she's local and she's somewhat new. So I got a great deal on her services and
Uh-huh.
she got to meet a bunch of people that she didn't know. So it worked out really well.
And then the pictures with Santa, do
Mhm.
you
That's
email?
complimentary, yes, and it's all digital. So
Okay,
they
so you
get
just
it.
email those out to them
Yeah.
and then they have time to make them into Christmas cards or whatever.
And I got my first Christmas card for one of my
Really?
kids, which was really.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
Okay, so like I said, after the highway patrolman stopped me, I got to see all this fun stuff. It changed my whole day. But here's something else you've got going. So we're all trying to stand out from the competition. Talk some about your buyer's guide and your seller's guide.
So
These things, I'm gonna leave them up here for you to look at them.
I am very, when I first got licensed, nobody talked to me about listing presentations or how to market. People, the agent that I kind of job shadowed initially, she was very established. And so she would literally float into a house and say, I'm here, your house is worth this much. And people would go, okay, sign and you know that. But if you're a newer agent, it's harder. You need some data to show, you know, what you can do. So everything I do is a reflection of my marketing. So all the images in here are, almost all of them will be from properties that I've listed and sold. So they get an idea of
I know it's hard to
what
see
our
some of this,
marketing
but-
looks like. So these are just guides to walk you through the buyer's guide, the sold guide. I have a CMA guide that I use. If you have enough notice before your listing appointment, you can have it printed at a local print shop. And it's really nice to have something physical to give them. They're not likely to throw something this nice away versus if you just show up with the printed MLS sheet. And people always say, wow, this is so nice. The other agent came, she had nothing, or the other agent came and she just had the printed MLS sheets and they're really appreciative of it. And I had really good responses with these.
One thing I love, the back page is testimonials. So basically you're using your past clients to show,
Yeah.
yes, this isn't just me saying it, this is everybody else saying it too. On the buyer one, there's a wish list guide so that it helps them sort of process through the whole thing. But, and how often do You change these up?
I change these up almost quarterly. I have in the past, I've used them in the back, I'll put like the current market stats. And one time I made a mistake and I printed a whole bunch. But the problem is that because our market is changing all the time, you don't want that data to be outdated and you don't want sellers to be thinking, oh, my house is still worth X amount when it's not current. So just be careful of that. But it's a great way to, you know, I've seen people that are getting ready to put their home on the market and maybe they're, you know, you hear from so-and-so, my neighbor's getting ready to, I'll send them the seller's guide. And you can do it digitally too. If you do it in Canva, you can send them an online version of it and it looks really nice. It's, you know, a direct email link to that file, so.
And I forgot to grab one from your office, but you have delivery boxes.
Oh, yeah, I
Did you
have
bring
one. Can I show you?
So,
Because that's
yeah,
really
this is
helpful.
really cool too. So instead of just handing it off or dropping it in the mail, this is how the guides show up.
So I do these boxes that I had printed up. If anybody tells, if I show up to somebody's listing, a lot of times I'll put my buyer's guide and some extra goodies in there. And, or I've mailed these to people, and people, they've got my, you know, it's got the guide in there and then it's got a little brochure, my little koozies, my bottle opener. So they get, it's just a little extra presentation and people really like it. I have in my car, little from the dollar store, cleaning buckets, small. I fill it up with cleaning supplies and then I see somebody getting ready to do a yard sale or whatever. I've got my little promo sticker on it. I stick it on there and I drop it off, say, hey, here's some supplies you might need. And you can use your QR code to go back to see who's looked at your website. So if you set it up that way, it's a great way to capture somebody's, you know, information. So I use these at open houses too. So people that are, I've also changed my mindset on open houses. Instead of trying to market to potential buyers, I'm really trying to market to potential sellers. And so I leave these out and I ask them, would you, you know, are you interested in knowing what your home is worth? And then I'll mail this to them later.
And another thing I saw, you'd started a podcast.
Yes.
Actually, I need to change the screen.
It's actually a video of, yeah, videos, not podcasts.
Okay.
Because they're physically coming, yeah.
But you're interviewing people in town.
Yeah. So I started years ago, I knew I always wanted to do something more about our community. And it just kind of came together recently, but I call it Finding Home in Rolla. It's not just about finding your physical home, but it's about our community, building our community. So I've had a home appraiser on there. I had the county tax collector on, which was a really hot topic because our taxes went sky high. And so she went on before the taxes went out and prepared people like, hey, your taxes are going way up. So we got a lot of comments on our Facebook page on that. There's a local author that recently wrote a book on homesteading and survivalist. And that's not my thing, but he shared the video on his business page and we got a lot, you know, of interaction both ways. And it's just been a great way to introduce other people to other members in our community and reintroduce them.
And you become the connecting point
Yeah,
through it all.
yeah. So it's been great. A lot of positive feedback on that too. And I've got people now asking me if they can come on and you know, show what they do. So that's really cool.
And the last thing I have on, how many of you are familiar with Rolla and UMR and St. Pat's Day? Yeah, a few of the party people are, yes. So every year, St. Pat's has been a huge thing at that college forever. And every year, because I went to school 20 miles from there, you had to get your yearly St. Pat's sweatshirt. And the stories of what goes on there, I think it's calmed down since the 80s and 90s.
It's kind of, when we first moved there in 98, I think a few years before that, Rolla had nationally sold the most alcohol on St. Pat's.
And
It's a big deal.
And there's something called Alice. I can tell you about that when we're not recording. It's this giant it's a tradition and it's an honor to be dunked in Alice, but it's pretty scary.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah. So anyway, the sweatshirts are the thing. So tell them what you did.
Yeah, so I had my own sweatshirts made up. There is a website called Kiddle, and you can go, there's a lot of free designs that you can change, you know, to however you like. So I did one for, gosh, that's so rude. So,
I know.
so I did one for myself, and then on the back, it's got my slogan.
And I know you can't see it online very well. It says, your dream home, your future, my commitment, and then says hashtag cat sells Rolla. And this is mine. She gave me this one, so I get to keep my own. But so basically what I love is you took things that are already going on in your hometown and you capitalized on them. You didn't create
Yeah,
something new.
yeah.
You just took what was there that you have a passion on and used it to move yourself forward.
So all my marketing fund goes back to my sphere, basically. So I do multiple events or some way to touch them. So I just went on a listing appointment, and these sellers had just bought the home 9 months ago. So when I pulled up the old listing, I saw who they bought the home with, and I thought, oh, I wonder why they didn't call her, but whatever. So I go to the listing, and he's wearing their t-shirt, that brokerage's t-shirt, which I think is also funny. But so in 9 months, she must have made 0 contact with these people. So they've already forgotten all about her. So these are just great ways to stay in touch with your customers. And it's working really well.
And it's doing things you enjoy.
Yeah, I love it.
It's not
Yeah.
reaching out of what you know,
Yeah.
it's not doing something you hate doing. It's taking what you like and using it
Yeah.
to your advantage.
Yeah.
And so 2 reasons I wanted her to come up. This was amazing. All the stuff she has going on there, and she's gradually taking over Rolla. It's kind of fun. And anytime I see in the internal page, somebody asking, who do we have in Rolla? Now you know. In fact, here's Catherine's info again. If the clicker will let me. I broke it. But also, what questions do you have for her on some of these things she's doing?
How often do you update your podcast? Do you do that like weekly or monthly or?
So I try to have my month scheduled out. I've already like reached out to people in January. So like one event that I want to do in January, early January for the first quarter is that do a kind of a promotion, like people have to, it's for small business owners that aren't good at video marketing. And I'm going to, you know, they have to come and like my Facebook page, introduce themselves, and then do a raffle, and then they get to use my videographer and create a series. I find that I'm a giver, and so I like to give to people, and people really appreciate that. And you know, that's kind of, I built my business slow and steady from the ground. When I got licensed, I had 0 money, and my husband didn't want me to spend anything on marketing. And you know, like I said, we had 5 kids, and so paying the monthly desk fee was, you know, was a little uncomfortable at times. So, yeah.
Any other questions? Jim?
So how much time do you think you spend per month setting all this up? Just see organizing and getting your dates set, making your calls.
Not as much as you would think, because I have a videographer that comes and does the shooting and the editing for me now for these big videos. The smaller videos that I do myself. And I will tell you, you take a video of yourself putting something together for a client, and then you post it on your social media. People go crazy over, like, oh my God, you're so nice. Like nobody else does that, you know, like everything that you do in your day-to-day business is something that you can use to market yourself on social media.
And then who do you brainstorm with
Oh,
to kind of get all this set up? Because I know you're really bright, but you had to
It's
come up
been
with.
in the back of my mind since I got licensed. I always wanted to have like a community page, and that's what I intended my Facebook page to be. And I got, over this past year, I really got, you know, we're all friends with each other. So when we're seeing that we're posting just sold, just listed, just sold, it's so boring. And your customers are like, God, gag me. I don't care what you just sold.
Yeah.
So I decided I really wanted to make it more about them. And I've left that behind a little bit. You know, I still post, you know, my listings because it's my job to market, but I'm now focusing on our community.
So you were restricted in your other brokerage and really couldn't expand and
I
do
was
all.
totally, I had agents that came into my office, said, why are you doing these videos? You shouldn't be talking about interest rates. You shouldn't be doing, Facebook's not the way to go. And, all kinds of very negative things. And being in Raleigh, I have so much freedom.
So what areas do you cover up there? What
So,
counties
Yeah,
and
so,
towns?
so mostly Phelps County. I'm a big believer in focusing on what I know best, and Raleigh, St. James, in the immediate area is my comfort zone. So
Do you have any sons who are soccer players?
I have two. I have one just graduated with his nursing degree on Saturday and played for UMSL, and then I've got a little sophomore player in high school.
You like all American or like?
I thought we were talking about me.
I just wanted to know that
Yes.
all this is going on and you're traveling to soccer
Yeah,
games too.
three
High
times a
school
week, my son
games.
practices in St. Louis from Rolla, so a big commitment, yeah, for sure. If I can do it, you can do it, and Mike knows, I'm a big introvert. I really have struggled with that part of my business. I've made up my mind, there's some things in marketing that I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna cold call, that's not my thing, it makes me feel really icky. So like I said, I focus on the things that I feel good at and I make people feel good about, so.
After team meeting, can you hang out a few minutes if you have
Sure.
questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw all these things she was doing. I thought, we've got to share this and let you know, we got people in Rolla and all over the place. Can we give Catherine a round of applause? Nobody gets my sweatshirt.
I was thinking maybe I could get it.
Nope.
Oh, well.
All right,
Get out of here. It's my turn.
your turn.
All right, so there's a whole other lead gen source. That's with strangers, so let's talk about that. I'd like to bring my friend Claire up here for just a second. For the rest of us in the room, maybe we don't have friends, I don't know.
I'll be your
Claire.
friend.
Thanks. Have a seat. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I work for the Grady team and I run their ISA department. So we lead gen. I would hate to be on video like Miss Catherine, but I love cold calling. So, there's something out there for everybody.
There really is, there really is. Now, you've been with Grady for
7 years this spring.
7 years this spring and in the ISA role, so pretty well versed in this role.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about how this is your number 2 lead generation source at Grady's office.
Yeah, so our number 1 lead source is always past clients in Sphere. Kind of roll that together, it's about 60% of our business. This is the second highest for us. If we added all of the calls, not just the sign calls, it would be a huge piece of it, but just the sign calls, we signed about 60 people from sign calls
This past
this year.
year.
Mhm, we have
Okay.
about 35 to 40 that'll close this year.
So explain what a sign call is.
Yeah, so we really segment that because we get a lot of calls, some from Google reviews and things like that. But if they're calling, they're like, hey, I'm calling about the house I'm in front of on 123 Main Street. We consider that a sign call.
And if you guys were at the meeting last week, Mike did a beautiful role play on what a sign call sounds like more often than not. And that
And I've
is,
heard that example before.
yeah,
Calling, what's the price on the house on 123 Main Street? It's, 200,000. Okay, great, thank you. Click.
yeah, on
That's
either
pretty
side,
common.
right? The buyer or the agent.
Yeah.
I was astounded to actually hear
Oh,
people.
that's right, Mike hung up on that one.
Mike hung up, yeah.
Sorry.
Often it's the client
The
that's sitting in
client.
front of the house. Okay, thanks, out of my price range, click, right? And you're like, okay, cool, right? Mike was the agent and this actually happened. We just got a sign call upstairs. Landon had given us an example of the person said they needed an appointment and hung up and that was it. So they called us looking to get into a house and that person was able to get them in the house and sign them as a buyer. So there's a lot of opportunity on the other end of that. If I could share just a very quick story, before I got into real estate, I would have been one of those people who I'm standing in front of a sign. I'm not really shopping, but I'm thinking about it. So I'm just gonna call real quick, get the price, realize it's out of my price range, and then get off the phone as quick as possible because I don't want to be sold. I can't afford it, whatever reason. And then getting into real estate, I had to learn the other side of that. So Claire, do you want to do a role play about kind of what this should look like versus Mike's awful example. All right, so I'll be the buyer and I'll call you.
Okay.
Okay.
I know, I can't look either.
Two pros up here, friends. Okay, ring, ring, ring.
Hi, this is Claire with Grady Real Estate. How can I help you?
Hi, Claire. My name's Shanna. I'm sitting in front of this house on 123 Main Street, and I'm just curious what the price is.
Okay, awesome. Let me pull that up for you real quick. What has you looking out at houses today?
Oh, I'm just browsing.
Okay, okay. Have you been browsing for a while or do you just just this one pique your interest?
Well, you know, I was just driving through this area because I really like this area, and this one just piqued my interest. I'm not really shopping.
Okay, okay. What about this one piqued your interest?
Well, I really like the color of the siding.
Okay, I love that. Well, I do think they just put new siding on it, so that's,
Ooh.
yeah, that's really exciting. Yeah, what is it about this neighborhood? You mentioned this neighborhood. Is there something special about this neighborhood for you?
Well, you know, it's the school district that I would like for my kids to be in eventually.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're not currently in this school district?
No,
Okay.
we're just outside of school. We're going in next year.
Going in next year. Okay, okay. So in about 6 months from now.
Well, if you put it that way, I guess so.
Okay. Okay.
Hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so it's important for you to be in this school district by the start of school.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, well, awesome. Well, this house is listed at 200,000. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath,
Ooh.
2-car garage. Is that something that you'd be looking for?
I am a little bit, I don't know that sounds really high. I think that's overpriced.
Okay, okay. Well, and it, you know, there's always a chance, it could be, you know, the house is worth whatever, the buyer's willing to pay for it. Are you interested in taking a look at all?
Well, I mean, I don't really know what I can afford yet, if I can be honest.
Okay, okay, well, perfect. Well, you called the right place. We can definitely help with that. We work with Josh Duda. He's an amazing lender. Are you available today for him to give you a quick call and just get that process started? Because 6 months is, you know, we're kind of in that time frame that people might start doing that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I am free today. I'm off work.
Okay, awesome. And then I'd get your phone and your email and all that stuff.
Much better than mine.
Much better than Mike. So let's hear some ahas from what you heard that she did different from Mike outside of just hanging out.
You're not getting the price until I want it to.
Yeah.
That's a lot of questions
Yes.
before.
I was gonna say, she found out why she wanted to move there, her need.
Motivation, right? So what Gary Keller says is dig into that motivation. So she knows all about me and was able to pick apart by asking great questions, my timeline. And if you heard me in the beginning, I was like, oh, I'm just looking, I'm just browsing. It was just the siding, right? But she picked up on those little things. Anything else?
She gave a sense of urgency.
Right?
that, like maybe you didn't think you had as a buyer.
Because I'm thinking 6 months, that's half a year. I got plenty of time.
But she also let you think it was your idea, you know?
She's really good.
So my question is, you know, you had this great person on the other end of the phone, but if you got someone with less patience, like maybe me, who would have just said, I just wanted the price, click.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you're
how do
asking me
you
too many
handle the impatient people? Do you just let them go or?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. You don't get everybody, right? The whole point of scripting and practicing what we do is that we might get a little bit more than we did the day before. Even impatient people, if they really have a need, will slow down for a minute. And so if she's gonna be more patient, so if they ask me 2 to 3 times in a row, like, hey, like, and you can hear it in their voice. You can hear when they're leaning in and they're just being honest, like, listen, I get what you're trying to do. Like, I just need to know the house. So then I can switch, right? I'm mirror and matching. So I'm just gonna be honest with them, like, listen, it's a $200,000 house. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath. Is that something you're interested in? You know, we sell a lot of houses in this neighborhood. You know, would you like to come and meet with us? I'm still gonna offer some services. I'm gonna try to get their email address so I can drip property on them. But you don't get everybody. Yeah.
And then just to follow up, are all of your listings also put onto Realtor.com and Zillow? So then why call you if I can look it up why make that call at all if I can look it up on realtor.com and see?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's still people, people parked in front of the house. Well, I think it's on Main Street. Hold on, let me back up. Let me get to the house number, right? There's still people that stop in that sign and they call.
The culture thing.
Yeah, they still, I will say it's gone down a little bit, but what's come up is Google calls too, where there's a bunch of orphan people, just like the previous guest had mentioned, right? They bought 9 months ago. The agent never kept in touch, and they're just Googling. And they'll call that way. So that's not truly a sign call, but it's a very similar script to that.
Conversation.
Sorry, it's
We
a
don't
very
script.
similar conversation. Yes.
Yeah, no, these are great questions. And I love what Claire said is you're not gonna win them all, right? Nobody's standing over your shoulder going, you didn't get that one, right? Like, that's on you. But when you're faced with that, where maybe they hang up, do you sometimes maybe call back?
Yeah, if they abruptly hang up, I almost always call back. I'm so sorry we got disconnected. Sorry. Headset, sometimes it glitches. I'm so sorry. And go from there. A lot of times they're not going to answer. If they've truly hung up on you, they may not answer the second call. But yeah, and then I always follow up. So at very minimum, everybody has caller ID. At very minimum, I have their phone number, right? And so I prefer an email address too, but I'll always follow up, and I'll probably set it maybe a week or two out. With the holidays, maybe if I got that today, I would wait till after New Year's to check in, but I will always follow up and just see if I can reconnect.
And when you do follow up, do you often get further than you did on that initial phone call?
Yeah, it depends on the person. Sometimes you get the real person. The second time they're like, listen, my sister's an agent. I just needed the price of the house. Well, to me, that's still an answer. I'm actually okay with that answer. Because now I know I don't need to follow up with that person. Their sister's an agent, and I can move on to somebody who might need my help.
Yeah. Another thing that you mentioned that you said mirror match. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say to mirror match somebody?
Yeah, so it's really just matching like their energy and their tone. So if I get somebody who is really direct, if any of you've ever talked to like Adam or Carrie, right? They come in and they're like, they got, right? I'm gonna be that way back to them, right? I'm not gonna ask them about their kids and their school district and their favorite memories in the house, right? They don't care about any of that, right? I'm gonna be more direct and more clinical to the point, yeah. And then if I got somebody who's asking me personal questions, I'm gonna reciprocate with that, right? If they're asking me, questions or like asking me more information about the neighborhood, something that, they're obviously wanting to talk, I can do that. And then you can really feel if you're on the phone a lot, and you guys probably feel this in person, when you're at a listing appointment and you feel the signature, right? They're leaning into the conversation. You make enough phone calls, you will feel that on the phone. So you feel them leaning in to the conversation. And then that's kind of a indicator to me that, we're building good rapport and we're going to be able to meet at some point.
Absolutely. I love that you said that. So for some of you who don't know, I was on Holt's team as an ISA. So I have a similar background as Claire, and I could tell within minutes if this was a real person or not, right? If they were going to do something or if they weren't. And it's a skill that you grow over time, and being able to mirror match somebody, it's even down to like tonality, right? Like if they're super high energy or super low energy, and I would be willing to bet that if somebody's low energy, you could probably bring them up to your level. So very cool. Any other thoughts on this?
The only other big thing is that nobody mentioned in the script that I think is really important is when you're asking questions using their words. If you noticed, I said anything that you said I was repeating. Also being in the school district is important. So I'm using words that she's saying and I'm turning it into another question. And that's a big rapport building piece of the conversation too.
Absolutely.
So you don't actually have to come up with a question. You just have to use what they said and make another question.
So you're saying you have to listen to what they're saying?
Yeah.
Wild
Listen
idea.
to understand, not to respond.
Say that one more time for those in the back.
That's
that
a
maybe
Drew
didn't
thing.
hear it.
That's a Drew quote, or it might be somebody else's quote. I'm not sure.
I love it.
Drew
We're gonna
from
call
our
it
team
Claire's
says
quote.
But it's listen to understand, not to respond. If you're listening to come up with a response or rebuttal, you're gonna lose 90% of the time. If you listen to understand, you're gonna build that connection and they're gonna wanna work with you, whether it's today or tomorrow or 2 years from now.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Jim and I will stop at some point. Did you find that you ever got jittery or uncomfortable with the phones? Or are you just one of those natural people that love the phone? Did you have something to overcome? Because not everyone loves the phone.
Yeah, ever since I got my first cell phone, man, I loved it when people called me. It's just a natural thing. I still love when people call me. My husband's the exact opposite. If you have to order a pizza, he won't do it. I have to do it.
So he
doesn't-
likes the online.
Yeah, yes, the texting, he does not want to make the phone call. And I'll be honest, I won't hire people. I have them make phone calls before they start. And if they hesitate to pick up the phone, or if I feel like they're prolonging asking questions because they don't want to pick up the phone, it's just an automatic no. There's just, if you have that reluctance, and it might not be your thing, but the great thing is there's other ways to lead gen. You guys have that on here. Texting's great. There's all sorts of different ways to lead gen, but sometimes I also am a big, sometimes you don't know. I don't like to ever not do anything because I'm afraid of it. So if I feel like I'm not doing it because I'm afraid of it, I'm gonna at least do it, and then I can make a decision on if I like it or not. But no, I've always been, the job I had previous, I was a software company. All my clients were, and even my boss was out of state. So everything was over the phone. So I just got used to making phone calls and getting into relationship with people that way. But yeah, I will say sometimes I'm nervous about the conversation I have to have. If I have to call somebody back and deliver maybe not great news, that makes my stomach hurt.
I think everybody can
90% of
probably
my
agree.
job, I don't have to do that. Like a transaction manager, like you guys would have to call people and go over their inspection reports. Well, not my favorite phone call.
No, I like the happy people.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to do it. And the nice thing about the sign call, to go back to what we were talking about today, they're calling you. You have a piece of information that they want to have. And so they're really easy phone calls to receive.
I'd have to second that. When I first got into it, I had a little more reluctancy. I mean, I did have an Italian mother who I could never get off the phone with, so she taught me the way, but it's definitely, they just want the answer. I just want to give it to them and let them off the hook. But they called me. They need something from me. So if I have to call them 3, 4, 5, 6 times to get in touch, I had to change the way I thought of that. It wasn't bothering them. It is truly just getting that information back. So when you have leads that come in through command or other sources or phone calls, remember they called you and you're not doing your job if you're not giving them the information they need. Which, if you noticed, when Claire spoke, it was very conversational. It wasn't as if she was reading off questions to try and keep me on the line. What's got you out and about today? What's attracted you to this house, right? All of those things are conversational. So you've got to dig deep and get in those conversational questions to get the conversation going.
I find the most challenging thing about sign calls. So at least for me, a lot of my calls, right? If you're calling your database or maybe calling Facebook leads that you're purchasing, it may take you, you might only get 1 or 2 answers per 10 people you're calling, right? So there's that level of these people are calling me, right? This is what I've been waiting for, right? To talk to somebody. But one of the challenges of you're calling those leads out of your database that maybe are colder, you're almost having to push them forward through the process, like kind of like pushing them. Okay, this is the next step. When do you think you could talk to the lender, right? When you have somebody that calls in, one of the harder things beyond just getting their information is sometimes, at least for our team, is I have to slow people down, right? Most of the time they're pushing me to go see the house. And I'm like, well, you haven't even talked to the lender yet, right? You have no idea what your house is worth. You haven't talked to the lender. You haven't signed a buyer's agency agreement. Maybe we shouldn't go see the house yet. And that is the trickiest part of that call, is building that rapport and slowing people down who may be setting themselves up for failure by going to see the property.
Because what can happen if they're not approved and they go see a property they love? Waste their time. They fall in love with a property they can't afford, or they don't have pre-approval, so they miss their opportunity to even write on the property. You're doing them a disservice by just being what Jen calls
And
a
then they
Pop-Tart.
think of you in a negative light, like they associate you with that bad feeling. And it can be hard to get past that. And so we do sometimes just show the house. I mean, sometimes we do that. Yeah, that's the most challenging part, is slowing people down and controlling the conversation and building that rapport so that you can guide them through the proper steps so that they have a better experience.
Awesome.
Any last thoughts or questions for Claire while we got her here? No? How about thank you?
So a couple things from our technology on both conversations. The agent that Catherine was talking about who did not follow up, what we do on our team, the minute we sell a house to somebody, we put them on a monthly neighborhood nurture. So they're starting to see what's going on in their neighborhood automatically. You can do that through command. It's simple. And the thing I've done, like with the person who calls and they hang up fast because they want the number or whatever, or the house. I text them the hyperlink from Flex. That way they get the whole listing of the house. And then I say, hey, if you need other info on other houses, let me know. That way they've got something in their text line from me. That way they can get to me again. So use your technology. If somebody's not gonna be conversational with you, figure out a way to stay in touch with them.
And that follow-up call, you now have a reason to call them back, right? So I always feel like when somebody calls me, I'm not as in control as versus when I call them. So if I have a reason to call back or give them something more, it puts me back in control. So if you get off the phone, you're like, I botched that, I didn't do great, I didn't ask the clear questions, right? Not clear questions, in case you missed that. Then you have the opportunity to say, oh, you know what? I got off the phone with you and I was thinking about this and I forgot to mention XYZ. Right? So take that opportunity and just get back on the phone.
Yep. One other thing for you, this is the DTD2 for next year. So you can start scheduling who you're calling when, touching base with your database. We've got this, I think it's on the Facebook page, but we can share this with you also. Print it off, put it on top of your desk where you can see it. So basically, January 1st, the first week, I need to call anybody with the last name of A and W. And I'm not gonna call them and say, hey, you wanna sell your house? I'm gonna say, what'd you do for New Year's? We're gonna have a conversation and the house things come up at some point.
Be clear on your message, right? That makes it so much easier when you're making a phone call to your Sphere database, whatever. Same thing if you're gonna go door knock. Be clear on what you're trying to get across. Have a purpose behind it. We know the purpose, but find a different purpose.
Yep. So a lot of stuff today. What are your action items?
Come on, I'll pick on you. Be like
Be like
Catherine.
Catherine.
I like that.
Bring my teammates up to speed.
Awesome. Okay, two last things. We're gonna do a picture upstairs with the backdrop for our Christmas sweaters. And this is, so one of my goals for this year, because I've looked at all the things I learned in KW and I'm like, dang it, why am I not sharing some of these life building things with my kids? So I'm trying to take some of the stuff I learned from here to pour into my kids more. So we're gonna do what I'm calling a bold Christmas. Have you taken bold?
Yes.
And what's the last thing we do? We write a letter to ourselves for next year. So before we open stockings, I'm having all the kids write a letter to themselves on what they've accomplished as if they're opening them next year at Christmas Eve.
Oh, I love that.
So I'm not gonna see it. I put it in a folder. We're gonna keep it till next year, but we're gonna do that bold letter writing thing so that they can start thinking about what they want to accomplish for the next year.
Rip off and duplicate.
That's right.
Come on.
Mike,
So-
are you going to give them a heads up so they can be thinking about it in advance?
No.
Oh.
Nope. So right before we do everything, I'm gonna have the letters and the envelopes and say, hey, you're writing this letter to yourself 1 year from now. And I'm not gonna see it. You get to open it for yourself. And because I've noticed whenever I do that, a lot of the stuff I put on there, I forgot about and I've actually accomplished it. And so it's pretty cool. So why on earth are we not sharing this stuff with our family and our friends?
That's legacy.
Yeah, that's my goal for the year.
Awesome.
Thank you all for a wonderful Christmas and for a wonderful year, 2024.
When will we see them again?
Will
Will it be next year?
Well, yeah.
We'll see you next year.
Actually, we'll see them upstairs for a picture in a moment.
But for you online this next year.
That's right. Online, send us a picture of your holiday festiveness too.
All right.
Thank you all.
Command center, right?
Command center.
Command center upstairs.
Oh, sure.
Good. Right around.